We're live.
Welcome to the Lost Together podcast. I'm Joe, and this is still my attempt to convince Morgan that this is the greatest show ever directed, written, acted, and produced, and occasionally, heart-rending viewers, such as the episode that we are talking about today, which...
At this point, I think we should maybe amend the opening, because there's no convincing. I'm bought in. I'm in it. I'm in it.
I can't amend it at this point. You know that. I'm halfway through the series. And we've still got, if you think about it, right? My goal is not just for you to like it, right? My goal is for it to be like a top 3 type show, right?
Okay.
So, like, you've got, for you, like Handmaid's Tale.
Love.
Is Breaking Bad up there for you? Is it just up there for
That's
me?
a great show. It's a great show.
So, Handmaid's Tale, Breaking Bad.
White Lotus.
White
It's
Lotus.
probably up there for me.
Yeah, it's up there for me too.
Yeah.
I think that White Lotus is not going to eventually make enough episodes to be as epic as Lost, but I think that
It is gripping.
Lost has got some real duds for episodes, but it's got also a lot of excellent episodes, like the one that we're talking about today.
Man.
Which is the 12th episode of the 3rd season, the 61st episode overall, which technically speaking means halfway through this episode we were officially halfway through the entire series of Lost. So we are headed downhill from here. So we are more than halfway through at the end of this episode. So this episode is called, and please forgive my mispronunciation if I'm saying this wrong.
Avion.
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 I think it's Avion.
Avion.
It's French, I believe.
With some crepes.
Which means for the air or airmail.
Indeed.
So that is today's episode, a Claire episode. Now, I think that you can comfortably say that any Claire episode before this was kind of a lame episode.
God, right? Lame.
They really did Claire a solid on this episode.
Okay, I think probably. I was thinking back when we were watching it. How many times have I cried in the show? I have cried.
Not many. A couple.
Not many. But this time, you guys can probably see it all over my face. I'm all swollen. Oh, my eyes. I can feel my eyes are swollen. That was a tough episode.
That was like we had.
That was tough. That was a tough episode because it hits on 2 of my own personal nightmares. So
elaborate for the people listening.
Well, are we going to jump right in?
Well, just give it. Just give them kind of.
Okay, so I am
themes.
Terrified of being responsible for something horrible happening to somebody that I love. Mm. I am deeply scared of that. And I'm deeply scared of speaking hatefully to somebody and it being the last time. Because you just never know. Yeah. You just never know. When my stepdad passed away in December of 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last interaction I had with him, I went over to his house. They live just a couple miles down the road from us. I went over to his house and I borrowed a cheese grater. And I was in such a hurry because it was right after Christmas. It was the day or 2 after Christmas, and I needed the cheese grater because we were cooking. I was cooking a big dinner for your brother and his family and your mom and all them. So I had run in and, hey, David, thank you for this cheese grater. I gotta go. I'm so sorry. I gotta go. That's the last time I talked to him. It was not substantial. It was just a normal, everyday, hey, I'll bring you this back in a couple of days. And I think that I made them a plate with all the food that I made, but I guess I didn't talk to him when I dropped the plate off. But yeah, that was my last interaction with him. And how could I ever have known? How could Claire have known? You're in the middle of a fight. You mean the shit you say when you're fighting, when you're mad. But it might be it. And it was for Claire. And that is horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
It was really bad.
Yes. I'm so glad that for my personal experience there, that my last interaction was at least not hateful. It just was brief and normal. And it wasn't, I didn't get to say, like, hey, I love you and all that. I just was like, thanks for the cheese grater. see you later, love you. Like that was it. So
yeah, and
tough.
he would, if David could hear what you're saying, he would tell you not to feel bad about that. Like that's
I don't care how he feels about it. I'm here.
To be honest,
I care how I feel. I'm experiencing this, not him.
To be honest, he was probably in a rush to get back and watch some college football or something on TV because it was still the football season and his team was getting ready to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, so there's some little personal insight here into our lives, but this episode was emotional. For me, it was extremely emotional for me. Poor Claire, poor freaking Claire. So, am I good to just get right into it here?
Yeah. So, I wanted to. I was trying to think if there's anything else I needed to add here at the beginning, but we can go ahead and get into the recap, and then we will get into a further discussion.
Sure. Okay. So, it opens with the whole windshield busted out of a car. Do you know how hard you have to hit something, or how hard somebody has to go out of a car to bust out the whole windshield? That's an intense wreck. So Claire's like clambering out of the front of a busted up car. There's a lady out in the road. Claire runs over and she's grabbing her, and I was like, don't touch her, her back might be broken. Unless the car's on fire, you do not grab people out of cars because they could have neck injuries, they could have back injuries. You don't touch them unless the car is on fire. Leave them alone because you're going to do more harm than good. But she runs over and I'm like, no. And she's like, Mom. And it's obvious that Mom is not well. Not well. Oh, also, Claire is not a brunette. That baby had like black hair.
Right. Well, it was dyed.
Either way,
clearly it was dyed.
Yeah. And she got like L'Oreal box dye. That wasn't even a good dye job. Like, I could have done better than that.
I think they're trying to communicate something about her character there.
Wonder why. Yeah. Daddy issues. Man, I'm so sick of these daddy issues. Why does everybody have daddy issues?
Because there were not a plethora of excellent dads from that generation.
Golly.
It's, where millennial dads are trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
But, we can only do so much. Like, we can't go back and fix those dudes. Like, they screwed up, so.
Well, anyway, so they get to the hospital, and there's some pretty little curly-headed lady, and she's yelling at Claire, and that's her Aunt Lindsay. And Aunt Lindsay is just, she's bearing the brunt of that whole situation, trying to figure out what the hell happened,
Just gonna grab my rocket booster real quick.
Oh, my God. Dealing with all that stuff. And so then, it was so hard. They come to find out that Claire's mom has had a massive brain injury. And, the likelihood of her waking up is pretty low, pretty slim.
He says, I can't confidently tell you that she will wake up.
And he says it could be days, weeks, years, and...
Yeah.
The Aunt Lindsay goes, well, we can't pay for that. And then the doctor says, oh, well, it's being paid for, and I've been asked to keep it anonymous.
Now, can I just interject here? I would keep this till the end, but I think this is a really important note for our viewers. That is a huge plot hole. You can drive a truck through that. First of all, this accident happened in Australia, and Australia actually has a decent healthcare system, unlike the American healthcare system. If this wreck had happened in Los Angeles, I get it, right? We get the flu and we get nervous, right? Because you're about to lose a whole bunch of money, right?
I know people that have driven themselves to the hospital with broken arms and legs, bleeding out. Because they can't afford an ambulance ride.
Without a doubt. To be honest, if I broke something on me, it's going to have to be my right leg that I press the accelerator with. Yeah. Because, I'm not paying for an ambulance. It's a fortune, right? So
if something like that happens, I don't feel like I could, like if something happened to one of the kids and they're choking or they broke something, I don't think I could be calm enough to drive them safely to the hospital. So we're getting an ambulance and they can put it on who cares about my credit score, baby? flunk it. I don't care. I've already got student loans.
All
Who
I'm
cares?
saying is that in America, we have to think about that stuff, right?
Indeed.
But
Yeah.
in Australia, this would have been covered by Medicare. Like they would have definitely been. This is a huge plot hole. So obviously, most of our viewers are Australian, and they probably saw this and were like, "Why is it going to cost money? What are you talking about?" Like,
keeping somebody on life support.
So like, "Oh no, they've been transported to America."
Oh yeah,
right? Like,
baby, if you're on life support, you got like a couple of days to wiggle them toes or something, because we got to pull the plug. We can't afford.
you have to be like, "I can't buy a second house, baby."
Yeah,
right?
We got sorry, I love you.
And that's why anyway. So just wanted to throw that in there. Huge plot hole. Australia, this would not be an issue. Just like Breaking Bad couldn't happen in Australia. Be like, Walter, you got cancer.
Come to the hospital.
Come to the hospital and get free treatment.
Anyway, so it's obvious that Claire is like going to the hospital. She's visiting her mom a lot. She walks in. There's a new doctor. So she walks in and somebody says like, "Oh, your new doctor's nice," and she's like, "New doctor?" And they said, "Yeah, he's from the States." And in my brain, I did not put that together. When she walked in and Jack's daddy, Christian Shepherd, is standing there, I literally was like, ah! Like I reached over and smacked him, and I was like, "Oh my God, no! What?" Because what? So then she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Claire, I'm your father." And I was like, "What? Oh my God. What are you talking about?" Turns out, Christian Shepherd is a whore. So we'll start there. Had a whole ass family, aka Jack and his mama, in the States. He had come to Australia, had a whole ass another family, and when the cops were talking to Claire after the wreck, and the cop was like, "How fast were you driving, and what were you doing, blah blah," and she was like, "I don't know," and the cop was like, "Well, we have to know if there's a fatality," and she says, "My mother's in surgery," and he says, "What about your dad?" and she says, "My father died when I was 2. So there is no dad, effectively no dad. Yeah. So JK, it's freaking Jack's dad, the worst dad of all time.
I think Sawyer's dad was a little worse.
Sawyer's dad was bad. Locke's dad was bad. Bad dads all over the place.
A lot of bad daddies. Not Jen's dad though. That's a good dad. Fisherman.
He was a good.
That's a
good
dad.
A good dad. I hope that Jen turns out to be a good dad. We don't know. Sun's not even showing yet. That baby is still a 00. She is not showing at all. So anyway, she shows up and she's like, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Claire, I'm your father." What? And he's like, "Let me take you out for coffee." So they meet up at a mall and he buys her a coffee, and she's like, "Why are you here? Why did you never come back?" Whatever. And he's like, "When you were little, I used to sing you songs and I bought you toys and I came to visit." And she says, "You're my father, but I don't even know your name and I'd like to keep it that way." And then Christian kind of grabs her by the lapels, metaphorically, and goes like, "There's a difference between hope and guilt. And don't keep your mother alive. I know the difference," or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's like, "Yeah, apparently," what was he saying? Like, suicide is illegal, which it's illegal everywhere, but
basically
whatever.
Assisted suicide.
Yeah, it's illegal,
right.
But he's like,
I know a way around it.
like, effectively, like, I can,
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, so you came all the way over here just to get me to kill my mom?" And then, she storms off. How bad of a dad do you have to be to jack up 2 children on 2 different continents? Christian.
Pretty bad.
I mean, damn. It's rough. Oh, God. The thing that jacked me up so bad. So Claire comes in, and I guess, like, how when you're watching a movie and they want to, like, show time passing, like, the character might get glasses or their hair might get a little gray. Well, Claire goes from a L'Oreal box-dyed, black-headed somebody to her normal curly-headed self, and she's, like, 8.5 months pregnant, and she walks in, and they've, her mom's in a very nice room in a real bed. It's a headboard and a footboard. Like, that's long-term care. So she's kept her mom, Christian has kept her mom alive all this time, which good for him, I guess, that he still paid the bills and kept her alive. He didn't have to, but he did, because that's what Claire wanted. But she walks in, and she says, Mom, I'm so sorry that, I told you that I hated you, and that I wish you were dead, and that I wish you weren't my mom, and I'm pregnant, but I'm going to give the baby away because it's for the best, and I love you. I was like, oh my God.
That's when she started crying.
That was horrible. That was so hard to watch. That was so hard to watch. Bless her heart, my God. I feel so fortunate that, I had my mom around when I had my baby. And, I had that, and, your mom and your stepmom, and I've had this, village of women around me in my pregnancy, and she had nothing. Her, she had this big falling out, found out that her dad wasn't dead, but then found out he was a POS, and then her freaking mom, the last thing she said to her mom was, I hate you and I wish you were dead and you weren't my mom. Girl, I'd keep her alive too, just in case she woke up, so I could tell her that I am sorry and I am wrong. Yuck. Oh, God.
So that was the Off the Island story.
Man, it was so hard. So basically, on the island, there's a lot happening there too. Claire figures out that there's birds flying around because her and her mom used to watch nature shows together. And when Coraline was a baby, we used to watch
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth. We watched it all the time. So I was like, oh God. But so Claire knows from those shows that, birds migrate, they fly south, whatever. Some of these seabirds that are on the island are flying around and they've got tags on them, which means somebody is going to come and get those birds. So she's like, holy shit, we could put a message on them and whatever. So they set out to trap the birds. Desmond, he's pissing me off. I need him to stop being just everybody, John Locke, I've never liked that about him, all that cryptic weirdness. Just say what you need to say. As John Mayer would say what you need to say and quit being so cryptic and weird. But anyway, so Jen and Son, they help Claire set up traps. Mm-hmm. They're going to make nets. They're going to catch the birds. Desmond comes and shoots a gun, obviously, so the birds fly away. And Claire was like, sir, you're going to shoot a boar right here where we've got this net set up. What a coincidence. And Desmond is like, how would I know you were out here? How would I know? And she was like, yeah, that's awfully weird. I was like, get his ass, Claire. Get his ass. He's out there on purpose trying to ruin your whole plan, which is a good plan. It's a good plan that she's got. Mm-hmm. So all that crap is going on. And then, and I forgot, Charlie, bless him. God, I don't want to like him.
Don't like him. He sucks.
He's being real nice, though. He's got that beautiful little buffet of, tropical fruits and whatever, and he wrote "G'day" on it. So cute with his little Australian girlfriend. So she wakes up and she's like, what's all this then? And he's like, come down to the beach.
Do you think that when she wakes him up with some breakfast in bed that she just writes "oi" or whatever on his
oi?
Oi!
Hey, all you everybody, get up.
Oi, piss off. Right.
Yeah, whatever. But it doesn't matter whatever. He did it. They go down to the beach.
It does seem a little silly that he's like, g'day, and then he's gonna set her up with some shrimps on a stick or whatever,
He's just trying to...
Prawns on a barbie.
Whatever. So I think it's cute and sweet. So they go down to the beach for their little picnic that Charlie has set up. It's a whole picnic with blankets and towels and all the things. And then here comes Desmond saying nothing.
Real cryptically, like, you better go hunting with me
Charlie,
today.
I think it would really behoove you, brother, to come and hunt boar with me today. And Claire's like,
with me is the best thing for you to do.
Yeah. Claire's like, what?
Yeah.
So, that's when Claire goes, oh, catch the beds. We can go home. I think it's pretty good.
We can only do the O's.
Yeah, harm.
So
home. Harm.
Whatever. The rest of the accent is shaky.
Yeah. Anyway, so after freaking Desmond shoots that gun, Claire goes back to the beach and flips her shit out on Charlie, and she's like, get the hell out of here. You're a liar, and I don't want my baby around liars. God, she uses that baby as a weapon all the time, which sucks. You never use your children as pawns when you're fighting with your significant other, Claire. That's a bad, weak move. I don't like that. But she's like, yeah, get out of here. So Charlie leaves. Turns out later, she's like tracking Desmond or whatever, and he's running all up on the cliffy little edges of the island, and he finds a motherfucking bird with a thing on its leg. I guess do you take the note and twirl it up and stick it in between those metal things?
Think so, yeah. Or you can just tie it around its leg.
Yeah, I guess they could do that. But anyway, he picks it up and she's like, oh, okay, well, how'd you know? How'd you know to come to this beach, this rock, and that's where the bird was, and you just knew that? And so then he finally spills the beans of like, okay, well, right over there is where Charlie slipped in and he got beat up against the rocks and he broke his neck. And she's like, what? So then she comes back and apologizes to Charlie and says like, okay, well, Desmond told me that like he's effectively been saving your life this whole time. You were going to drown when he came to get me out of the ocean that time. You were going to get hit by lightning. You were going to break your neck getting this stupid bird for me. So like, I guess we'll kiss and make up. So there's resolution there. Love that. So out in the jungle, Kate, Saeed, and Locke and Danielle have got Mikhail. How do you say his name?
Mikhail.
Yeah. Whatever. They've got him. And, they're holding him as a prisoner or whatever. They're trekking through the woods. And Kate and Danielle have got this moment at the river where they're filling up their water bottles. Oh, God. If I would whoop Kate's ass just all up and down this side of East Tennessee. I swear to God, she is tone deaf. She looks at Danielle and goes, when I told you that your daughter was alive, you didn't ask me a single question. As if Danielle's going to be like, oh, psych, that's not my daughter. And I don't know what the hell she thought she was going to get out of that. So Danielle looks at her, and just like any person who's ever had a child or has ever been separated from somebody that they love for a long time, she goes like, I lost my daughter 16 years ago when she was a baby. She does not know me. She has no idea that I've loved her. Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
They'll screenshot you.
I know. That's why I turn my face. Thanks for calling it out.
You're welcome. She said, that baby has no idea that I ever loved her, that I cared for her. She will not know who I am. So, I didn't ask you questions because I don't want to know the answers. The only thing she wants to know is that her baby is alive and safe, as any parent would want to know. So shut the F up, Kate.
Kate sucks.
TM. Shut up, Kate.
They ain't even trying to make her likable at this point.
My God. Yeah. I was like, oh. So they're, traipsing on through, and they come through the jungle, and there's these huge pylons, and it looks like electric fence postings, like with cows all down through there, but there's no wires. John Locke takes Mikhail and goes, whoop, and just pushes him through the shit. Because they ask him, they're like, what the hell is this? And he's like, it's a supersonic fence or whatever.
Well, I should point out that first, they walk up to it. And I remember the first time I was watching this series, I thought this immediately. Because they walked up and Kate looks at it, and Saeed immediately goes, "Don't go any closer," right? And he grabs her, and I thought, shit, she's gonna run right into it. Like that's because that was my instinctual thought about like Saeed saying, "Don't do this," right? And then
and Kate, she goes like, "Well, now I have to."
Kate goes like, "Triggered. You just told me I can't do it. I have to do it."
You're not my dad.
Right? Like, "You're not my dad." And then just running into it and getting her brain scrambled up. Like, yeah.
So when they're coming up to that, Mikhail says like, "Oh yeah, it's like some supersonic fence," and Saeed's like, "Oh, well, you're lying." And Mikhail goes like, "Well, look at your little map that you got. It goes around the whole barracks. Look at your map." So they do, and it sure does. There's the barracks, and there's that jacked up fence, and it goes all the way around.
Right.
And I guess there's kind of a standoff with Mikhail and the rest of them, and they go like, "What the hell is this? And why aren't you telling me the truth?" And he says, "You would not understand." And Kate's like, "Try me." Because who would know better than Kate Austen? And he calls them by their full
names,
Christian names. John Locke, Saeed Jarrah, Kate Austen. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys are total strangers to me. I don't even know you."
I'm almost certain that Saeed's name is not a Christian name, but like,
whatever. Just to say your Christian name.
He's Muslim.
Your given name.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Your given birth name.
That's a Southern thing.
Yeah,
to call somebody's
name.
legal name their Christian name.
I don't even know what that is. It's a thing people say.
I've always thought it was stupid, which is why
it is stupid. That's why I said it in this silly, jovial way that we're talking. But he goes like, "Y'all wouldn't understand because you're not on the list." And they're like, Kate says, "What list?" And Mikhail says like, "You're flawed. All of you are flawed. You're scared. You're angry. What else? You're frightened.
Weak.
You're angry and you're weak."
Yeah.
And so Locke's like, "Bye," and he shoves him into the force field or whatever. Dude is squirting blood out of his ears, foaming at the mouth.
He says, "Thank you."
Yeah, he goes, "Thank you," and just explodes. And so he dies. And then they're all like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" And Kate goes, "We're not going to go around it. We're going to go over it." And they actually came up with a pretty clever little
workaround.
Yeah, they bent a tree over that pylon, and Kate climbed on up like a little spider monkey and jumped over, and she was good.
Another viewer's note there, which I said I was going to mention as we were talking about this episode. I looked to see if anybody noticed this as a blooper. Locke is not swinging that axe nearly hard enough to cut into a tree.
Yeah, okay? I mean,
it's a decent sized tree. Now look, I have only even attempted to chop down a couple of trees. So my grandfather, well, I'll call him Papa. That's his name here, right? So he had just an ass ton of trees in his backyard, and he was clearing them one day, right? And he was clearing them with an axe, right? Not a chainsaw. And I was like 10 or 11 or something, and I was like, "Let me try." And of course, he just let me instead of giving me any kind of, So I go over and essentially try what John Locke did, which is
whap.
Something like that.
Yeah.
No.
You really got to put your back into that shit.
So it is basically like your hips swing the axe, and you've got to
hold it like a baseball
loose.
Bat. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you actually start up near the.
Yeah, and you slide it through.
You slide your hand down. That's at the blade, and when you're hitting and it goes. You're supposed to really swing. Like Locke is not swinging even close to hard enough to cut that tree down, and I was just like, man. They didn't even try to make it look realistic.
It's all in good television.
That is not good television though. That is crazy. It's like just to think of an equivalent, it would be like weed eating and just having the weed eater in the air or something instead of down where the weeds are. It's like you're not even trying. Anyway, it was just irksome.
Saeed, after Locke pushes Mikhail and it blows his brain up or whatever, Saeed's like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing?" And Locke goes, "Well, if you'd told me that the whole place had C4 in it, I'd have been more careful." You should not go into a building thinking well, there's not C4 in the basement. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do.
Well, in fairness, you don't go into any building thinking there's C4 in the basement. But
you don't go in thinking there's not C4.
No.
There could be anything.
I go into lots of buildings thinking there's not C4 in the basement.
On a scary island with monsters and shit on it,
I think the better criticism is you don't go and just start pressing random ass buttons.
Yeah, and going like, well, they're, how must be. So, Saeed's like, F you. They go to get that axe, and Locke's like, oh yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it. Pulls out a big old pack of C mother effing 4 out of there, and Saeed's like, I thought you didn't know there was C4. And Locke's like, I'll stand corrected. Mollywop him. Somebody needs to, I think I reached over and said, interrogate him. Saeed needs to interrogate his ass. Shut up, John. Shut up. How are you going to look somebody in the face when you're that wrong and be a smart ass about it?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. So they get on over. Yeah. Everybody gets on over. They're traipsing through the woods. This was another one where I was like, because they get on and they, there's like a little clearing. Oh shit, it's the barracks. Jack is running full force. He's running right to Kate. It's all whatever. And he turns and he catches the football. He throws it to Mr. Friendly. And they're having a great time. And he looks clean.
Yeah,
he looks well fed.
They're not just throwing the football.
They're having a great time. Jack's like doing celebratory dances.
No, a great editor's note there is that they have Jack spike the football and then do like a touchdown dance.
Yeah, he's like, woo.
So it's not just a little back and forth toss.
No, they're having fun. They're playing.
Jack's having a good time.
He's clean. His clothes are clean. He looks well fed.
Mr. Friendly's laughing.
Happy. Oh yeah, they're having a great time. And I said, "Oh, he's been assimilated. Oh God."
Yeah, and that was.
And then it went lost.
Boom.
Great episode.
Yeah.
Great.
Par Avion.
I can't wait to watch the next one.
So, yeah, I actually only have one, kind of editor's note here, because there's one of my favorite sections is the art
within the art.
Art within the art. So, Sawyer is reading on the beach. He's found his glasses. Morgan mentioned that.
Oh, yeah. I said, oh, yay. He got his glasses back. No more migraines.
Now, just an asterisk here, because I'm going to express myself a little bit about the book that he's reading. So he is reading the book The Fountainhead, and it's by Ayn Rand. All right. My sincerest apologies to anybody who might be a fan of the work of Ayn Rand, but the odds are that if you're a fan of Ayn Rand, you probably are not a fan of this podcast, because you're probably too busy pretending to have read Ayn Rand. You probably read 20% of it and then put it down because it's boring as all get out, right, to begin with. Ayn Rand is an objectivist philosopher, or better known as an egoist philosopher. So the really simple way to describe every protagonist in an Ayn Rand book is they're all Elon Musk. All of them. Okay? They all don't think they have to be accountable to anybody but themselves and their principles. All right?
We're not political.
They'll literally go go fuck yourself, right? If you think I'm gonna if you're gonna think that I'm gonna do anything but exactly what I want all the time because I'm a genius, and if you try to bridle my genius, then you're a full idiot, right? And I'm just gonna dominate you. That is the context of every single Ayn Rand book that's ever been written. It's this woman couldn't come up with a single other theme to write about. That's the entire thing.
Woman?
Ayn Rand, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And she would, you couldn't find a person in history who would have a bigger crush on Elon Musk than Ayn Rand. They just, the objectivists and egoists believe that there's no such thing as a collective will, right? So, the protagonist, an Ayn Rand protagonist is usually, gifted and strong-willed and principled, right? And they'll go, the person in The Fountainhead, for example, is an architect. And he likes to make buildings a certain way. And lots of other people, like government agents and people who are also architects and know stuff about buildings, are you can't do that. it's dangerous, right? Your building might fall over. And he said, shut up. I build how I want to, right? And that's the whole book, y'all. And it is crazy thick.
So what the hell has that got to do with Sawyer or this episode?
I don't think it has something to do with this episode. I think it is a clue about the next episode. So, because I know the content of the next episode.
The man from Tallahassee.
The man from Tallahassee. The Fountainhead, if I'm trying to be a little more objective, right? Like the themes in the Fountainhead, it's about the collective versus the individual, and it's about objectivism. So it's about having a principle and standing by it, basically. So those are the main themes of The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. If you want to read a book by Ayn Rand, well, don't, right? But I mean,
I was going to say, this is not a good, advertisement for Ayn Rand.
Yeah, I do have an English degree, so I can tell you I can tell you that it's not very good writing, and there's much better writing that you can read. If you wanted to read something similar, you probably heard of Friedrich Nietzsche, who wrote all manner of nonsense too. But at least his stuff is fairly well written, and it's short. So you're going to spend an eternity reading Ayn Rand. Sawyer's going to start that book and not finish it before he either dies or gets rescued from this island. So it's like, he ain't making it through the Fountainhead, y'all. He's not making it. So that's the art within the art. I saw it and couldn't remember that that's what he was reading. I was depressed. I'm like, Sawyer, come on.
What else has he got to do?
Stare at your toes or something. Don't read Ayn Rand if you're stuck on a beach. I would not. If you gave me an Ayn Rand book and I was stranded on an island, I would not read it. I would still just do other stuff on the island. I promise you, I wouldn't read it. I'm familiar with her. So that is the art within the art for this episode. We have got a blue million messages in a bottle. So before
it's a lot of gifts and stuff like that. Like, I think we can blow over the gifts. Maybe not. I don't know.
So anything else about this episode stand out?
It was so good. I really enjoyed this episode.
It's a very good episode.
I really enjoyed it. I like it when I'm watching the episode and I can't shut up. Like,
yeah.
I bet I'm annoying to watch this with because I talk out loud.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't do that with everything. Mm-mm. But, you know this. And I say stuff so that you might, it might click in your brain so that when we do this podcast, you can go, remember when you haven't done that yet, but I'm not going to stop talking in the episodes. So
it's part of why I love watching TV with her is because she doesn't do it quite as much with TV shows that neither of us have seen. So
I don't do it at all.
When we watch White Lotus, you don't do that, but you do it a lot with Lost.
Yeah, I do it with Lost because it's an experience.
I like it.
Yeah, it's great.
I couldn't wait for the revelation about Claire being.
I was like, he said, "Do you know what that makes Claire and Jack?" And I was like, "Yeah, Sherlock, brother and sister." And Aaron is Jack's nephew.
Except she didn't say it like that because what I actually said was,
I said, "Oh my God, they're brother and sister."
I said, "So that makes Claire Jack's right?" And she goes, "His half sister." And
I didn't say half sister. I said that's his sister.
And Aaron's sister. No, you did say half sister.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Well, I didn't say half sister.
You did.
I was getting up to go get my baked potato out of the air fryer and said that's his sister and Aaron's his nephew.
I was actually, the reason I remember it is because I remember being impressed that you said that instead of just sister.
Listen, there is no half. It's just your brother and your sister.
So when she said half sister and then went to get the baked potato out and then she was like rambling all the way in there and regretting that the actual first prediction that she made when she saw that Claire's mom was in a coma was that Juliet and the fetal stuff.
Oh yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, that's going to be the tie-in. They're going to be, because when the doctor was like, oh yeah, I can't tell you who's keeping your mom alive or whatever, I was like, Dharma, it's Dharma, and they're going to use Juliet's fetal stuff to make her mom come back to life.
Unfortunately,
that's what's gonna happen.
Significantly more depressing. It's Christian Shepherd. So
the worst guy.
He's so bad.
God.
And so then I pointed out to her that, in season 2, Ana Lucia had driven him to a house where he was banging on that door in the rain, and a woman came out and was like, get out of here, right? And he was like, I just want to see her, or whatever. And, so he wanted to see Claire.
Yeah, and, little editor's note, I guess, on my end. Baby, it would have taken years to get that L'Oreal black box dye out of Claire's hair to make her the blonde that she is. Come on. I know they were trying to show the time. Oh, and she works at a tattoo shop and she pierced somebody's ear with a gun? Yuck. Is that what y'all do in Australia? That is not good piercing.
Nah, I think they just wanted to.
No, you better do a needle, baby. When I got my second holes done, I got them done at a hair salon. And with needles, though, it wasn't a piercing gun. I am not pro piercing gun at all. It's just trauma. Trauma to your earlobes or whatever you're getting pierced.
All right, so we'll move on to Messages in a Bottle because there is an announcement inside Messages in a Bottle via Greg. Congratulations on hitting this major views milestone. We hit 2,000 views.
Woohoo! Crazy town.
You like us. You really like us.
Really like us.
Awesome. So that is so cool.
It is.
And thank you all for being there. So that means, I don't know how many of you there are, right? But if there's 10 of you, that's 200 views.
Well, I've watched our podcast a couple of times because I like to go through, and dissect everything that I say.
So I think you have to be on the video for a certain amount of time before it counts as a view. I don't think it's just a couple of seconds. It's minutes.
Oh, no, yeah, no. I'm watching the whole deal so that I can go, oh, why did I say that? Oh.
She actually is wondering why anybody likes to listen to her at all because of I
just sound like a big dummy.
Well,
just running that mouth, baby.
And I keep reminding her that you guys, none of you are Southern American like we are. So it's part of it is probably the enjoyment of just hearing these hillbillies talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to y'all's accents and man, that's good.
Do you know how much I would love to listen to some Australian people react to a TV show that I like that is like Breaking Bad, right? But it's too
Great
like.
Show.
I was about to do an impression, but I'm not going to spoil anything. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, watch it. It's a great show.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Who are you talking to right now?
I am the danger.
Yeah. The NASDAQ goes belly up. Anyway.
Point it. Oh, God, it's your second little political.
Yeah. And then Greg says, your podcast bring all the boys and girls to the yard.
And damn right, it's better than yours.
Yeah. So some comments from the last
That's
stream.
great.
So really, really like the meme, Greg. So me in what appears to be some kind of a...
Like a fortune teller.
Like a
Man, you are well endowed. Good for you. Good for you.
Oh. It's like, well, never mind. I'll be careful. So yeah, but then I did provide everybody with a picture of me from the actual...
oh my God, your dad is going to kill you.
Dad has seen that picture. I put it on Facebook, babe.
I'm going to pray for you.
If you can't tell, my dad's conservative. So, like, whatever. He knows his son. He knows that I have a sense of humor. And, like, yeah, I mean, I'm 38. He is my dad. Like, he knows about me. It is what it is. Would not be a surprise to him that I would con people with tarot cards or whatever.
Oh, that's why you called it rocket booster.
Yeah, so Josh says, hey, Joe, NASA called. They want their solid rocket booster back. All right. And listen, this bottle, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys remember when he was drinking out of a gallon water jug? Lame. We're too grown for that.
Yeah. Greg says, you guys killed the single episode format. When you take the time to breathe one episode, that's when you shine. I completely understand why you do the 2-episode thing. They're still fantastic and support it. But it's always a treat when I see you've done a single episode podcast, something that's reflected in your view count. Kate-centric episode not included because,
because they're lame and they suck and whatever.
Joe, impressed you knew you were halfway through the series. I had in my notes to remind you in the next episode is Par Avion is actually the halfway point on a technicality. Lost has 121 episodes, but the last one is an extended episode, which means the halfway point is this episode. And minor technicalities, who really cares? Just saying, insert anal emoticon here.
Is there such?
Is there? That's probably the poop emoji.
Yeah.
P.S. I'll remind you again, but you should do a special episode for the upcoming web mobisodes. Yep. I have them all.
What is a mobisode?
Can't tell you.
Okay.
The actor who played the fake psychic was sadly one of the first featured Lost actors to die. She was just 47.
Bless her. Didn't see that coming.
Interestingly, Mikhail's use of the term hostile is authentic Dharma speak, because it's also the term used by the DI. So we found out in Season 2 Hatch, Swan Station Scenes by Desmond, who learned it from Kelvin Inman, who learned it from Radzinski, an original Dharma member.
Was Radzinski the one that he killed on the rocks? Okay.
And then he shares Suzanne Kroll, who's the name of the... I wonder if she saw it coming.
That's what I said, and I covered my mouth because it seemed like a crass joke to make.
It's a joke. Matt says, wonder what Joe sees on his screen. So they're just going to keep taking screenshots of me yawning.
Yeah.
That's fine. I dig it. I want to do one of those Gen Z edits of the whole series when it's over. Somebody just grab all my yawns. And it's just a stream of me yawning.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Kira says, agree so much about the action scene between Saeed and the cat lady.
I don't know if there's... I'm sure that there is an award for, like, TV shows.
Guest actors, yeah. But
there's, like, the Oscars.
Emmys.
Okay, well, that was an Emmy. That scene with Saeed and the cat lady.
Wait.
Amira.
Oscar is movies. Tony is acting.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Daytime Emmy. The Grammys is music. Right, so
Grammys is music.
Emmys. It's the Emmys.
Gramophone. Yeah, that scene should have won an award. That was some fantastic acting, and the story was so gripping.
The Saeed's acting was really good. Y'all know I love Naveen Andrews, but like the
her monologue about the cat and what she went through and all that. Oh,
one of the best guest
so
spots
good.
in the
Amira,
series.
was it Amira?
I think so.
So good.
Matt quoting Morgan, quote, "It's always the husband."
I said he didn't react. If something ever happens to me, it's him.
Husband gives judgmental side eye.
Well, I'm used to that.
I'm telling you. Daniel, Morgan saying Saeed always says he's an interrogator, not a torturer. Excellent observation.
He has said, I think he has admitted one time that he tortured people before he tortured Sawyer,
yes.
I think.
Yeah.
But he always says, and even with Amira, he said, I remember the face of every person I interrogated. Girl, you tortured them.
Matt, the moment where Kate tells Rousseau about her daughter always gets me. What a moment. A lovely contrast with the psychic scene with its perfect comic timing.
That was good. I liked the psychic. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it really good.
Yeah.
Like, how about 10,000? Your dad
put me up to it. Yeah. Immediately.
Greg asked, Morgan, do you now know who Trisha Tanaka is?
Was. It's
a response. So.
She is a dead TV news reporter.
So thank you all for participating.
Enjoy this single episode review.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of really good ones coming up, and this
one was yummy. Man, It was choice. This was a great episode.
Yeah, we will not be able to post an episode next weekend, so I'm going to try to get...
Yeah, I'll be in New York City. I've never been to New York. I'm very
excited. And I'll be home with 3 kids. So, yeah, it's going on a little family trip. So, yeah. Not her family, but like...
My mom's turning 50, so it's my mom's 50th birthday celebration.
Yeah, so go somewhere where it's super cold and...
in New York.
Concrete jungle, dream tomato.
No, don't say that. I already had a post planned in my head. I was going to post a picture. When I get to New York, I'm going to put it on Facebook and say concrete jungle, wet dream tomato. And you ruined it.
Anyway. So next episode, The Man from Tallahassee. Mm-hmm. So predictions for that episode?
That sounds like a Sawyer thing.
It is not a Sawyer thing.
I don't know. Who's from Tallahassee? Who's from Florida?
Well, it's a Locke episode.
Okay. Yeah.
And you are, let me just make sure.
Oh.
Real quick. Let's see. Yeah, you are going to love that episode.
Great.
Because we have Yellow Jackets to watch, which is on tonight.
Another great show.
But no matter what happens on Yellow Jackets tonight, you're going to like The Man from Tallahassee better. So it is a really great, probably top. This season, it's in the top.
Well, John Locke is pissing me off. So I would like to have a redemption arc for him going on so that I can stop feeling like he's such a butthole. I know. I've got all the context for John Locke. I know he's got them daddy issues and
you do not have all the context.
Uh-oh. So, well, I still don't know how he got paralyzed. Am I about to find out how he got paralyzed? Did a man from Tallahassee paralyze him?
Is that your prediction?
I'm assuming, yeah.
How can you assume that's your prediction?
Oh, you know what? In the last episode, I said, "Are we going to tell him?" And then we never talked about it. Y'all, in TV shows we've been watching, just out and about, we're seeing the numbers like all over the place.
So we just finished the second season of Severance, which is an Apple TV show.
Oh, such a great show.
If y'all haven't watched it, the basic premise is it's like work-life balance taken to the extreme. It's these workers that have this medical procedure that means that when they go to work, they can't remember their outside life, and when they're outside of work, they can't remember what they did at work. And so it's
like two separate people, but it's the same person,
same body, two different conscious.
Yeah,
right. And so the workers, when they go in for the day, they have to give up their like cell phones and stuff, and they put them in these lockers, and the locker numbers are 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. So
but there's that. It was in Yellow Jackets, I feel like. There was some movie we saw that it was in there.
It was on White Lotus.
It was on White Lotus, yeah.
There's a reference to White Lotus.
It's everywhere.
And then where did we hear it?
I can't remember, but it was somewhere innocuous, just regular old life, and we were like,
well, first of all, 23 is everywhere. Like there's
a Jim Carrey movie, yeah. That's a great movie.
And then 4 and 8, I mean,
they're even numbers.
Numbers. So you've got
families of 4.
And in America, if you talk about politics, a lot of stuff happens in cycles of 4. So like
elections.
Yeah, we unfortunately hear an awful lot about politics here. So you hear an awful lot about the next 4 years.
I'm telling
8 years here.
It has been
all over.
And I was like, they're everywhere. The numbers, they're everywhere. It's so good. Yeah. I love it.
The numbers.
The numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
We played. Did we ever mention that we played the lottery?
We did. We played the
win,
numbers.
So.
I think you'd probably be splitting that with a lot of people if you actually won. People wouldn't. I wonder if people actually won the lottery with those numbers, if anybody would be hesitant to claim it.
I would. I was just gonna say that if we had one, I would wash that money cleaner than the best embezzler of all time. I got to do something because we're going to bless it. I'm going to take it to Catholic Church, and they're going to put it in the holy water basin. Every dollar.
Babe, if I could win the lottery with 666, I'd win it. And I'd go claim it.
You dressed up as Baphomet, you sacrilege. Somebody.
Nonsense. You give me any kind of cursed numbers and let me win the lottery, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. And I won't think a thing about it. And she'll tell you that's 100% accurate. I would not think a thing about that. Just okay.
We've been doing a Southern goodbye on this episode.
That's all right. They'll appreciate our Southern goodbye, which is where you try to say goodbye like you're leaving a party. You go, well, I guess I better hit the old dusty trail. And then you go, how's your mama? How is your mama and them, right? And then you get together and you talk for about another 10 minutes and you do it again. Who I saw last week? Who'd you see last week? Well, I'll tell you later. And then it's the opposite of the Irish goodbye. Yeah, where you just leave. You just leave without saying goodbye to anybody. Yeah. So this will be the end of our Southern goodbye. Yep. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Lost Together podcast. And we will see you in another life. Brother?